So I want to try to get this right in one take. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nothing moves the blob. Hey YouTube, what goes on? And welcome to Disavowed Action Figures, bringing you another action figure review. Today we're reviewing the Marvel Legends X-Men 60 Years, the Blob action figure. So excited to have this in hand. I had it pre-ordered over at Hasbro Pulse. I canceled that because it came in stock at CMD store. Cost a couple extra dollars to get it from Canada, but I was pumped to get it. Very excited to have this. I never had that Build-A-Figure in hand. I've had some friends that picked it up over the years for an astronomical price, but I just wasn't willing to do it. And here it is. We got this one. So we'll take a closer look at it. As always, we'll take it out of the box. We'll look at the accessories that come with it, look at the aesthetics of the figure. We'll see how it moves around, the articulation. And then, of course, my favorite part of all these action figure reviews, we'll do some comparisons with Marvel Legends and all sorts of other toy lines as well. But before we get into that, if you're new, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free for you. Doesn't cost you anything. It helps us grow the channel tremendously in our march to 4,000 subscribers. All right, let's take a close look at the packaging. Then we'll rip this guy out of the box and see what we can do. So just like the action figure itself, the box is friggin' huge. We have a product display on the front of what the figure actually looks like with the screaming head. There are two here. I love how we get, since it's 60 years, the older comic book art mixed in. X-Men logo down below. On the side, we do get the picture of Mr. Dukes himself right there, the action figure version of him. On the back, we do get a picture of him as well, along with the accessories he does come with and the size to be expected. This side, I really like how they mix it up. We get a comic book rendition right there of the Blob, which looks really cool. On the top, 60 years anniversary logo. And of course, the bottom, legalese, all the crap we don't care about. And here is Marvel Legends The Blob out of the packaging, and this guy is really freaking cool. Now, again, just like all Marvel Legends and all action figures in general, there's a debate on the cost for this guy. I believe he's retailing around $55 on all the different websites and eventually in stores. Is that a higher price, considering Mojo was right around the same price? For what you're getting, it could be a higher price, but at the end of the day, the Build-A-Figure was so freaking expensive to pick up on the aftermarket after all these years. If you wanted a Blob on your shelf, this is probably the way to go. I don't know if this will be paying off in the long game. I don't know if this will turn up at a Target or a Walmart down the road at a discount. I'm really not quite sure. All I know is I really wanted this thing on my X-Men shelf. I was always jealous of collectors who had the Build-A-Figure. This is very different, don't get me wrong. But considering I'm an X-Men animated fan, as you all know, very excited to have this in the collection. So let's take a closer look at how he looks accessory-wise. Then we'll look at the actual aesthetics of the figure. And then again, how he moves, and we'll compare to some other stuff. So of course, the accessories come in this little wax paper. Let's pour those out of there. Get that out of the way. First is the head sculpt. And head sculpt looking pretty freaking cool. This is the screaming head sculpt that we get right here. Different haircut slightly as well. No sideburns going on by the ears. Again, the veins on the head came out very well done. You have veins right here on the forehead, near the temple. On the back, we get some creases going on. The hair itself looks good. The part in the hair right there. But overall, again, the teeth, the mouth, tongue looking good right there. So I don't know if I'll use this. I guess if I'm doing a photo where he is fighting, I might. But extra head sculpt came out great. Always enjoy seeing those in the packaging. In addition to that, we get two other accessories, which are essentially opposites of what he has on already. We get a punching hand and a kind of gripping hand that come on him in the actual packaging. Then we get one of each as well. Here packed in. Thumbnails and the finger, actually just thumbnail because you can't see the fingernails, came out nice. Knuckles, again, veins in the hands. Nice job there by Hasbro. And then here on this hand, this is actually more of a gripping hand, so you can actually see all of the fingernails right there. They came out great. Again, just some different lines in the hands. So that does look different than that hand. Yeah, so these are not the same hand, although we do get two fists for punching later on. But again, accessories, not bad. You always like getting extra heads and extra hands with our action figures. Let's take a close look at how this guy looks up close, then we'll move him around. All right, so getting close and personal with the Blob. Again, this head sculpt also looks pretty great. Just kind of more of a neutral stance, kind of a grimace going on. Again, we do have sideburns on this version of the head sculpt, so it is nice that it's a different head sculpt altogether. Again, he's a big dude. It's the point. He's, you know, fat. I'll try not to fat shame him, but he's a big guy. He's a mutant and he's fat. It's his mutant power that he's huge. So we do get the big chin going on right there. Face sculpt itself, came out good enough for me. We do get this kind of yellow paint over top of the blue. This is textured as well. It's not just a kind of a smooth material. Also, the stomach has some texture to it. This isn't just like a smooth material. It's almost kind of bubbled in a way. But again, looking at him all the way around, the arms and again, the face in different parts as well, do kind of have these like, I don't know, birthmarks or whatever you want to call it going on here, discoloration on the arms, which does add to the reality of what he actually would look like. Here you can see the paint, not that great. You know, here you get the bleed through coming through past the yellow. That's just how it's going to go with the paint. Not great. They could put more of a coat on there. If you can kind of see it right there, I'm not quite sure how that translates on camera. You can see more of those kind of marks on his legs down here as well. Again, yellow going around here onto the parts of the wrist, both top and bottom. So again, overall skin tone came out okay. Boots also kind of a texture to them, which is great. I like how it actually looks like a bigger guy would look. If you actually look at his back and like down here on his butt, you kind of get these folds kind of right here. It's not just kind of like the same kind of surface area. It's molded nicely to kind of actually resemble, you know, what it would probably look like for this guy, you know, if he was actually this large in general. But again, looks relatively okay. The paint isn't the best because of the yellow over top of the blue, but it'll do for what I need it to do. And let's look at the articulation of this guy. So his head will not go all the way around because it's the size of his head and the neck and I guess the chin. It will look, you know, relatively far on each side, not a little further on that side, maybe. Looking down, if you really push the chin down, which I'd be careful you don't scuff that paint, it looks down about that far. Looking back, you see the head will pop right off if you're not careful. Let's pop that right back on. So again, you have to be careful with the head. That, again, looking too far back, it'll go off the peg. Looking up, it'll look about that far up right there. Great tilt. You know, great tilt right there. So a lot of attitude with this guy that you can show off if you really choose to. As far as the arms are concerned, shoulders will rotate all the way around. It will go out to about a 90 degree on that side. If we go down here, you do get a single jointed elbow, which will go, it was a little bit past 90 if you look at it real close. I guess double jointed really wouldn't have made sense with this guy. It will rotate also here at the elbow as you do that. Down here in the hand, rotates all the way around. We do have that standard horizontal left to right articulation going on right there with the hand. As far as how far down or to the side his torso will go, about that far to the right, about this far to my left, right there. Back, you're not going to get much. You know, back, again, kind of not much going on. As far as how far down, again, if you have him look down, you're going to kind of get that. But he's a bigger guy. You know, he's not going to be doing the limbo anytime soon, right? There is no rotation at the waist because, again, this would make sense the way they made this mold with the figure. Leg will kick up very far for this guy. He could be a rocket if he really wanted to. How far back? Enough to make him look like he's walking. That's not too bad. You do get the upper thigh cut going on right there. As I mentioned with the knee, you do get single jointed knee. Again, it goes about that far back. If you want a better look at that right there. So again, not terrible, not great, but again, for what you're getting for this guy, he's a big guy. Very, very tight in the ankles. Be careful. I guess it's good because it's such a big figure, but about that far down for a better look at the foot. As far as how far back, I'm careful not to break this guy, goes up about that far, kind of giving you an idea right there. And of course, there's a rocker down here at the ankle. Legs will go out, again, relatively far for this big of a guy. Sorry I can't get him all on camera at once. He's a big dude. But again, about that far out for the splits. You know, so overall articulation, not bad for a big mamma jamma like this guy right here. But again, I'm excited to have it. Very pumped to have it in the collection. Now let's get to my favorite part of the video. Let's do some comparisons.
Nothing moves the Blob.
So I really wanted to add that video from the old X-Men arcade cabinet here in the review. So of course, since he was smacking Storm around, I wanted to show him here hanging out with Storm. Lots of X-Men comparisons coming your way after Storm. So a four-way X-Men comparison right here. Here is the Blob, starting with the Colossus from the Anniversary 2-pack. We get Wolverine from the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave. And of course, Jubilee chilling right there. So you can see that, again, he does stand significantly, or I'd even say maybe slightly taller. I don't know, it's actually kind of significant when you eyeball it. Taller than Colossus that they've obviously fought over the years. Wolverine being the smallest here. He barely comes up to what would be, I guess, that torso cut of the Blob. And Jubilee with her sunglasses hanging off her bubblegum right now. Again, that iconic X-Men animated series video that I posted earlier on where she kind of thinks he's gross. A few more X-Men comparisons right here. Here's the Blob standing next to Cyclops from our 3-pack. Our new Morph from the VHS X-Men Marvel Legends wave, and the Rogue, retro-carded Rogue right there. So again, Rogue iconically fighting the Blob in the cartoon. So you can see he does scale rather well with the rest of the X-Men figures. Here's Blob standing with some more Marvel Legends from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Here is our Mystique Walgreens exclusive. We do have our Pyro from that 2-pack that came with the Rogue, and the Magneto that came with his son and daughter, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. And I kind of forgot he's not the easiest to stand, so maybe we do need a new Magneto. And as alluded to earlier, having talked about that Colossus 2-pack, here is the Juggernaut re-release from that Colossus Juggernaut 2-pack, who obviously is bigger than the Blob, but I kind of feel like that probably is appropriate.
I'm gonna flatten these X-Clowns by sitting on them!
Ugh, that's gross.
And as promised by the Blob right there, he is going to sit on all these X-Men, and he's sitting on Vulcan right now. Some non-Marvel Legends comparisons. Here is G.I. Joe Classified Storm Shadow and good old Action Force Valaverse Trigger, who's partying as always, scaling with the Blob, and the Blob is obviously a lot bigger. Here's the Blob standing with a Mezco Toys John Constantine figure, and also the most recently released Alf figure from NECA Toys. Two other lines. Here is the Mythic Legions Figure Obscura 4 Horsemen Krampus figure, and the DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys Big Bad Mother Fragger Lobo. And even though Lobo's in that 7-inch scale figure wave, you can see he's still shorter than the Blob. And last, and as everybody likes to say, certainly not least, here's the new Marvel Legends X-Men the Blob, staring down the AEW Unrivaled Jazzwares Orange Cassidy. And you can't help but to think that maybe the Blob doesn't really like fruit that much based on his physique, but he might give an orange a try. So that is our review of the Marvel Legends X-Men the Blob figure. This thing came out freaking great. I like it. Is the price point a little high? It might be, but everything is nowadays for the most part, right? So we can make that argument all we want. But I'm really happy to have him in the collection. I was not going to spring to get that old Build-A-Figure, as cool and gross looking as it was. Having this on the shelf for a retail of around $55, or I paid a little bit higher again to get it from CMD store a little bit early, is worth it to me. We are rounding out our Brotherhood of Evil Mutants team. Still need a Destiny. Still need maybe some updates on other figures, but he came out great. He's loving the Alpha NECA cat sandwich right now. The extra hands in the head did help out as well. So loving this guy, to have him on the shelf. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you're new, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free for you. It doesn't cost you anything. Helps us grow the channel tremendously in our march to 4,000 subscribers. Go ahead and hit the bell for notifications. That way YouTube actually notifies you and tells you when we post new content here on the channel, like our weekly toy hunts, reviews, and live streams. Leave a comment down below. Hit that like button. And for daily toy content and daily toy updates, try checking us out over at Instagram and Twitter at Disavowed_12. Hey everybody, if you're thinking about going toy hunting this week, please try to remember the 3 P's of the toy hunt: patience, persistence, but most of all, politeness. Take care, stay healthy. I'll be seeing all of you at the pegs.